Welcome back to You Dad Me Hello. This is episode 13, TV Sitcoms 2000s to today. I'm super excited to get back into it. We've had a couple of weeks off with Christmas and stuff. Andy, how was your Christmas?
Quiet. Didn't go anywhere, which nobody should really be going too far. But it was nice. It was a nice, holiday for what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you?
It was good. I got some new headphones. I got a new chair. I'm very,
Nice.
very excited about it. But before we get too into the Christmas season, we should probably bring in our guest so that she doesn't feel left out in the waiting room.
Yeah.
So why don't you introduce this special guest?
She's back. She's my wife. It's Tina.
Hi.
What an intro.
She's back.
So, to be honest, Tina was really the only person that watches sitcoms that we know, and there was nobody. I don't know if that's a dying thing or not, but I don't think so. But we're going to talk about
by default
sitcoms. So today is our second live episode ever, and we haven't done this in about a week and a half. Third? Oh,
Yeah,
third.
We did an interview too.
You're right. Sorry. Our third ever episode. And we're back after quite a while. So forgive us if there is some crazy stuff going on tonight. But TV sitcoms.
And can I say that was the longest 30 seconds ever to lead into the podcast?
It's more of getting the live video ready. That's all.
Yeah, no, I just sat here and was like, oh my God, is this over yet? Come on. The people are waiting. Let's go.
There are many people are waiting. But thank you guys for joining us tonight again, live or later in January on the Spotify or YouTube or wherever else you're watching it. So thank you very much. Oh, I have a You Dad Me a Hello podcast shirt.
That's sweet.
Now for sale. They are $400 so that we can get through quarantine. No, it's priceless currently, but I love it. It's great. Thank you to my wife for making that. She has a Cricut, so she is very excited. If you don't know what that is, it's not a real Cricut. It's some sort of printer.
You don't go to Michael's.
I was gonna say, get one of Michael's.
That's true. I got mine at Joanne.
No.
However, I bought all the supplies at Michael's. If that makes you feel better. Yeah. But anyways.
I think we should explain exactly what we do, because I think we just jump into talking about the topic and people are like, how'd you even get to this point?
All
right. So what we do, if you've never heard or seen us before, which is probably most likely, so we are going to go through the top 32 2000s and up until today sitcoms. So these were shows that were chosen by RJ and myself, and basically we put them into a random tournament. So here's all the shows, and it just generates who's going to go against who. So we have no idea who's up against who. Usually, sometimes we take a sneak peek, but I think this time around we've kind of stayed blind to it. So that means you could have two of the most popular shows up against each other in the first round. You could have two shows that are absolutely shouldn't make it to the finals, make it very close to the finals. And I think what's interesting is that if we were to randomize it again another day, we could have a totally different winner, just based off of who goes against who. So, and it's all based on personal preference. So if you don't agree, let us know. Not like we're going to change anything, but hey, it's our opinion. We'd like to hear yours as well. Chime in. And that's it. That's what we're going to do here. So when people are like, what the hell are you guys talking about? I just explained it. So rewind it and listen to me again.
Well, thank you. And if you're watching live tonight, feel free to comment on any of the social media, follow along. And if you're watching later, feel free to also comment, because we will get back to you as soon as possible on how wrong you are. So,
and if they're listening to it on Spotify or wherever after, they're not able to see our, my Bob's Burgers t-shirt that I'm wearing, or your You Dad Me at Hello, wonderful shirt that you're wearing. Which
Yeah, I do love it. It's probably one of my favorite shirts currently.
I want one. Like now.
Well, we'll get you one at some point. But anyways, hey, let's start it. We have top 32. We're going to make it to top 16 pretty quickly, hopefully. Considering, again, these come from Andy and I and our personal opinions, so we don't put anything on there generally that either one of us haven't seen. And Tina is here today to side with Andy. So we're going to see how this goes.
Yeah.
So anyways, the first round, One Day at a Time, the Netflix revival versus Blackish.
Never seen One Day at a Time. So I'm going with Blackish.
I think that's how this is going to go.
Explain One Day at a Time. What is this?
One Day at a Time is an old TV show that they brought back in a revival. And it did really well. I think it had 3 seasons on Netflix, which for Netflix is pretty normal. But it's about a family in a house.
Wow, that sounds super interesting.
Oh, man. It doesn't star anyone of note, but it's a I
gotta go watch this now.
It's a reimagining of a Hispanic family who deal with different things, like the wife or the mother is an Army vet who deals with some PTSD, and they deal with the LGBTQ issues and stuff like that. So it does tackle a lot of actual really good issues and does it with comedy. So really good.
That's a way better
You should have
explanation.
led with that, yes.
Yeah, so
That's because I looked it up. But yeah, so it's great. But Blackish also, actually, Blackish is on my new list to watch. I've seen a lot of it, but I haven't seen it in order. So we're actually going to start that as our new nightly bedtime show at some point. Hopefully, that'll be the new show.
Ooh, saucy.
Mm.
So what's your pick?
Our current bedtime show is Criminal Minds. Very sexy. So
that gives you nightmares.
so I'll go with One Day at a Time. I would gather, Tina.
Blackish, yeah. Sorry.
Blackish moves on. Next up, Arrested Development versus Mike and Molly.
Ooh.
For me, I'm going to go with Arrested Development because Mike and Molly is a ghetto king of queens.
I'm going to agree with that one.
Yeah. I enjoyed Mike and Molly. I thought it was decently funny. But I definitely get your take that it's a little bit of a knockoff of King of Queens. So I'm also going to go with Arrested Development.
Arrested Development for sure.
All right, moving on. We've got Superstore versus How I Met Your Mother.
Oh, dude.
Is this a hard one for you?
This is super hard for me. Like, How I Met Your Mother was a show that we watched together. We watched it in full, and it was towards the end, you're kind of like, I just get it over with. And Superstore, we're still actively watching it, and it's really hilarious. And this is a tough. Oh, I hate you. What are you gonna go with?
Me? No.
I'm gonna go with Superstore anyway, because I do love the How I Met Your Mother arc from beginning to end. I also met the cast in Newport when they were having dinner together. So that was pretty
let's
cool.
tweet them.
Yeah. However, Superstore, I've seen every episode. Love every episode. It's hilarious.
Tina?
So I'm actually going to surprise myself a little. So the thing with How I Met Your Mother, exactly what you said, honey, about the end kind of was a little overdone for me. It actually, the finale itself, I really disliked a lot. I don't tend to like shows that do like a 20-year span in one episode. Quite a few shows have actually done that now, but it got a little worn out for me towards the end, and I love Superstore right now, so that's actually going to be my pick, even though How I Met Your Mother is the updated version of Friends, as a lot of people have said, but I don't dislike it for that reason.
Man, I mean, it doesn't matter what I choose at this point. Superstore is going on, so I'll just say How I Met Your Mother just to mix it up. I thought, again, it was a good show, but yeah, kind of lost me at the end. But
I love a lot of people on that show. I've never watched it fully because I ended up looking up the story arc, and now it kind of ruined it for me. But I really love Jason Segel a ton. Kobe Smulders was in College Friends from College, I think it was.
Friends from College,
which was a great show. And then
canceled way too early.
I know. And then Kristen Milioti, I think it is. She is from Broadway and does an amazing job in Once, which is a great Broadway musical. But anyways, moving on. The Superstore moves to the second round. Next up is Scrubs and the Connors. Connors being the Roseanne reboot that ended up being Roseanne for the first season, and then she got kicked off her own show, and now it's the Connors.
Haven't seen the Connors. I wasn't particularly excited when they did the reboot of Roseanne. I generally don't like reboots. Generally, more explanation on that later.
Fuller House.
Shut up. No suspense. Who are they going up against? I totally forgot who else.
Scrubs and the Connors.
Scrubs. Moving on. Zach Braff.
Tina, what do you got?
So I actually loved Scrubs. I think it's not really a show that we watched together, is it? I think I loved it. Was it?
Towards the end, yeah.
Towards the end. Okay, I was gonna say, yeah, I loved
you got me into it
for years. Okay, see. That's what it was. So that's definitely my choice.
All right. Well, I would have chosen the Connors. You should give it a shot. I never watched Roseanne. I hated it. I saw a couple episodes back in the 90s. I don't like Roseanne. It's got kind of a white trash feel, which is too close to home. So I didn't watch it. But the Connors reboot is amazing. A couple people from Shameless are in it, and the whole cast comes back, and it's really, really good. So, but anyways, moving on. Scrubs. Next up is the hard one. This is the one where Andy literally almost quit the show. It is 30 Rock versus The Office.
These are two shows where I was like, this is potentially final material here. We watched both of these shows. Tina hasn't watched all of The Office. I won't speak for you, but that's the truth.
You haven't seen all of The Office?
Not yet.
No,
you're going through it now.
We're trying to cram in the last season before it gets kicked off tomorrow.
Yeah, I watch it through already. This is my second time through. 30 Rock was hilarious. Tina Fey was fantastic. Just everybody that they had in there. Tracy Morgan, Werewolf Bar Mitzvah, fantastic song. If you've never heard that before, oh my goodness, such a great song. It's the Werewolf Bar Mitzvah, spooky, scary. Boys becoming men, men becoming wolves. So dumb, fantastic.
So what is your choice here?
The Office.
All right, I'm gonna go with The Office as well. I'm about to hurt your feelings. I have never seen an episode of 30 Rock ever.
I'm not too surprised because you're a dumb face.
I have seen The Office all the way through. I love it. I love the ending. I don't care that Steve Carell left in the last season. It made it a little less cool, but it was still good all the way to the end. Hopefully you haven't gotten that far yet.
We are in the last few episodes.
All right, cool. Sorry. And then when everybody dies, it's ridiculous.
We only have till tomorrow to finish it.
No, I'm just kidding.
I think you gotta watch 6 episodes.
You should just stop now and go watch it.
All right. I didn't break it.
Anyways, The Office moves on. What would you have chosen, Tina?
I probably would have chosen 30 Rock only because I'll be honest, Steve Carell's character in the first few seasons of The Office made me extremely uncomfortable at how terrible he was of a boss, because I was a boss and I was like, seriously? It was so over the top for me. I couldn't get on board, and that's why I didn't actually watch it. But when
you're still a boss.
But when I know it's like, oh, I almost said jam. I guess that's what we can call them. Jim and Pam, finally got together, and that was like, I know the big like like the Ross and Rachel for Friends. Yes, I'll be using Friends comparisons tonight. But when that's when the show took a little bit more serious of a turn, and when I actually got a little bit more involved in it, and then I've basically been watching it since through.
All right. Well, moving on is The Office. Next up, George Lopez versus Malcolm in the Middle. I'm just going to throw it out there because I hate both of these shows. Malcolm in the Middle is my choice because I've seen more episodes than George Lopez.
I'm the opposite. I don't know how many episodes I watched of Malcolm in the Middle. It wasn't too many. I probably would like it. Bryan Cranston's in it. And I think he's pretty terrific of an actor. But yeah, I thought George Lopez was a good show. So that's my pick.
All right. And Tina, you're the deciding vote.
Tiebreaker. I have seen more George Lopez. I don't think I've seen a single episode of Malcolm in the Middle, honestly. But I am a fan of the people that are in it. But yeah, I never did see it. So George.
All right. George Lopez. Moving on to the second round. Next up, Parks and Rec versus Fuller House.
Ooh.
I do like my Fuller House. I'm not finished with it. I think I'm in season 4 currently, maybe 5.
Yeah, this was the one reboot that I enjoyed was Fuller House, though it was terrifically cheesy. But they made fun of themselves, on purpose because they knew how cheesy it was and over the top. And I thought they played it off really well. Like they also tied in the old stuff into the episodes, which I thought was cool. But I'm going to go with Parks and Rec. I just enjoyed that show. Very much like The Office, the way they shot it. But every single person on that show was hilarious. And my phone's going off. Sorry. But I thought it was a really good show.
Nice. Yeah, Parks and Rec is one of my favorite sitcoms of all time, which is why it's on this list. More likely. It's a great show. I love every part of it. I actually like it more than The Office. Parks and Rec is just hilarious. Fuller House, I really enjoyed. I just watched an episode last night where...
Is that your bedtime episode?
No, I started to get back into it a little bit, and it's the one where Uncle Jesse meets up with the daddy group that turns out to be all millennials with man buns.
Yeah.
And it's just really funny stuff. So, but Parks and Rec is my vote.
Have mercy.
Throwback. And how about you, Tina?
This is probably one of my Office versus 30 Rock for me because I love both the shows. Fuller House, Full House was my show. I grew up, I was the same age as Stephanie. So I actually really enjoyed seeing them as their adult characters. I thought was really cool. But like you guys pointed out, I very much have enjoyed we've watched the entire series of Parks and Rec, and it is definitely hilarious. So I don't disagree. I don't know if I actually am choosing. I know. I guess I would probably go with Fuller House, but not by much. Not that it matters, because.
All right. Well, have you seen Parks and Rec all the way through?
All the way through.
Okay.
Every episode.
All right, well, Parks and Rec is moving on. Next up is Reno 911 versus Modern Family.
I'm going with Modern Family. We watched majority of it. I think the last few seasons we didn't watch. I think once the kids got older, it kind of took away from the show for me. Reno 911, surprisingly, I didn't watch as much, even though it's my humor. Nick Swardson is great in that. His character, the new boot goofing. Yeah,
you just sent me that meme the other day.
Yeah, I then I showed Tina, and then I showed her again, and 5 more times since then. But I'm going with Modern Family.
Yeah, I love Modern Family. I think it's great. My problem is it's off all streaming sites. The last 2 seasons or something like that. So I can't find it anywhere. I'm about to start season 11. That's where we gave up. And it's been forever. So at this rate, I'm just waiting for it to come on to a streaming site so I can finish this series, because they did end, I think, last year or this year, 2020.
Okay.
So, but Modern Family is my vote as well.
Same.
All right, moving on. According to Jim and New Girl, I'm going to start this one off.
Hi to Mike, by the way. He said hi.
I did. I said yes. I said hi as well. Yeah.
What do we got? Sorry.
According to Jim and New Girl, New Girl, we just finished again. I had watched it when it first came on, and then that was our bedtime show prior to Criminal Minds. So New Girl is a great show. I love it. Winston is hilarious. Schmidt is hilarious. Actually, Zooey Deschanel is the worst part of the show. She's great. I like her, but the other guys are so much funnier. So it's a great show. New Girl.
You keep telling us to watch New Girl. Like every time,
it's so good.
It's the new Hamilton. Like you're like, you got to watch New Girl. We keep seeing previews for it, and
you got it.
Yeah, and after the preview's done, we just still sit there and we're like, "Where's the funny parts of this?"
They're in the show. They don't give them away.
Yeah,
well, that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's a good thing, I guess. So at some point, we'll probably check out a few episodes here and there, just see if we like it. But I've seen a large majority of According to Jim, so that's my pick.
Same as well, but I am glad that you mentioned that Zooey Deschanel is the worst part of it, because I love her in Elf, but every time I've seen her in the bits and pieces of New Girl that I've seen, I find her extremely annoying. So
well, you'll be happy to know she actually is out of most of one of the seasons because she got pregnant, and so they replaced her with an even more annoying girl, Megan Fox, for about half of the season. But it was actually pretty good still.
Did they? Was that like a joke? Like
no, they didn't replace her as the character. They actually said she was on jury duty and couldn't come out of.
I'm like, did they just like sub in some random person?
No.
She was like, get somebody who looks exactly like me, and like they did it as like a joke. Like.
No, but it's great. I've never seen an episode of According to Jim, but that is moving on currently.
So next week, I'm gonna go out, and Ryan Reynolds is gonna replace me.
I thought you said someone.
I'm gonna have no reaction to that.
You're right. You're not gonna have an issue with that.
I said I'm not going to have a reaction to that.
Wow.
Take down your Christmas tree.
All right. Next up, we have The Big Bang Theory versus The League.
Oh, The League.
Okay.
So anytime I put on The Big Bang Theory, I'm like, what's funny about this? And I think it's a mixed bag. Some people
did I put this on here?
You did.
Because I think it's the worst show ever.
I know, you put it on there because you were like, people are gonna ask why that's not on there.
That's true.
All right. Like I said, you either love it or hate it. Should it be on the list? Yes, because there is a lot of people who enjoy the show. A lot of people think it's one of the funniest shows ever. I've had coworkers and other people say, do you watch Big Bang Theory? And I'm like, no, because I like watching funny things. Such as The League, which is a terrific show. I know you've never seen it, RJ. Probably not your type of humor. And it looks like we have to put New Girl in all the way. Sorry, Mike, that's not going to happen. So, yeah, The League.
All right. And Tina?
Definitely The League.
All right. League moves on. I'm not even going to vote because I hate both the shows. So, moving on. 2.5 Men versus Grounded for Life.
I haven't seen Grounded for Life.
Why is that on here?
You.
I didn't put that on here.
You did.
No, I didn't.
No, you didn't. I did. Wait. I got it mixed up.
I've never even heard this show ever.
No, I totally got it mixed up with another show. Grounded for Life.
It's about the Irish American Catholic family.
Yes. Yeah. I was confusing it with The Last Man Standing for some reason. No, Grounded for Life was a pretty damn funny show.
Was it? You don't even remember it?
It is. Now that look, I'm old. It takes a minute for my brain to start working here. It's 9:30 at night. I haven't had my nightly milk. It's just all downhill from here. Shut up. Grounded for Life was.
The show got canceled twice. How good is it?
It was actually pretty good because it's on the syndication. And anytime it's like come back on, I'm like, I gotta watch this. Like he's raising this teenage girl, and it's just trouble from there. And his brother is a horrible character, and it's fantastic. But that's not who I'm picking. 2.5 Men. I enjoyed that show. Dirty humor. Yeah. Charlie Sheen's crazy, but it was a good show.
All right, Tina?
I'm gonna go with 2.5 Men as well, mostly because I've never seen Grounded for Life.
You watched some with me.
No, I maybe. I think I've fallen asleep a few times with it.
I mean, that's a given on anything that we watch.
But
I'm surprised you haven't fallen asleep during this episode yet.
I'm not. That's because I have my coffee next to me. But no, 2.5 Men is definitely not one of my favorites, but it's kind of winning by default because I've seen some of them.
Winning. That was a Charlie Sheen reference for those of you who don't know.
All right, well, 2.5 Men moves on. I'm not voting because I hate both of those shows. Next up is Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt versus Workaholics.
These are both shows that I put on there. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt is enjoyable. It's not one of my favorite shows. It started off really strong, and towards the end, I was kind of like, all right. And Workaholics, though, in real life, all three of those guys, if those were the characters and they were in real life, I would hate all of them if I worked with them. But it's such stupid humor. I'm going with Workaholics.
All right, I have not seen or heard of Workaholics. It does have Adam Devine in it, which I think he's funny. Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, I tried watching a couple episodes of because I really like the girl from The Office, Kimmy Schmidt, I think. But I couldn't get into it. But I'll vote for Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt because I've seen more of it.
I'm kind of in the same boat with Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. I've seen more episodes of that. I find it kind of funny. I find her super annoying, her character. But I like the other characters, I think, kind of make up for it. I am sorry, but I just hate Workaholics. So I'm going with Kimmy.
It takes a particular type of person to enjoy that show.
Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt moves on. Here's one that hurts my face. The Good Place versus Last Man Standing. Last Man Standing being Tim Allen's Home Improvement, not sequel. But I love that show. But Last Man Standing lost it for me when they replaced 3 of the characters, maybe 4 of the characters over the span of the show with people that don't even look like the original characters. They didn't even try. So that kind of made me mad about that. The Good Place, I'm going to say it right now, probably the perfect sitcom, literally. From beginning to end, it is the most satisfying thing to watch. The ending is one of the best finales I have ever seen in my life. If you have not seen The Good Place, go check it out. I think it only has 4 or 5 seasons. And Kristen Bell is an American treasure.
She is. So it was Kristen Bell and Ted Danson, right?
It is, yes. Mm-hmm.
I forget who said it, but someone's like, "Oh, if I have a dog, I want to name it Dan Tedson." I thought that was fantastic.
It only lasted 4 seasons. I was super mad about the ending, but they weren't canceled prior, so they were able to actually give it a good finale. So,
As you throw up all over your microphone.
Ted Danson's great in it. Jamila Jamil, who plays Tahani, is amazing. Very, very funny. And Chidi is the man. So if you haven't seen it, check it out.
I've not seen either of these shows, so I'm gonna, by default, I'm taking your word for it. And yeah.
Well, if you liked Home Improvement, you'd like Last Man Standing. It is very similar. And actually, Tim Allen from Home Improvement makes a cameo on Last Man Standing, meeting himself. So,
yeah, I saw that. Strange.
Yeah. Not the first time. There's been a bunch of other people. One of his kids, Jonathan Taylor Thomas, ends up on the show trying to date his daughter on that show.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I would have gone with The Good Place, not because I haven't seen either of them either. Wait, what?
How old is his daughter?
Old. She's older.
Okay, I was like,
she doesn't live in the house. She has a kid on the show.
All right, I was like, hold on. How old is his kid? Because JTT is like my
This
age.
is not another Fred Savage Boy Meets World moment. Relax. That's a deep throwback. Sorry. Tina gets it.
Oh goodness. So yeah, The Good Place is something I have been wanting to watch for a very long time, but actually have not seen. So I would definitely vote for that as well.
Make that your next show. It's on Hulu, guys.
All right.
All right.
Hulu.com. 14.
I
Is it on-
love,
is it
love,
on Hulu
love
Women's too?
Kristen Bell.
Yeah.
So.
What'd you say, Andy?
You said it's on Hulu, guys. I said it's on Hulu Women's too.
You're not funny.
No.
The next
Not
one
generally.
is Brooklyn Nine-Nine versus The Rules of Engagement.
So again, oh, you actually put Brooklyn Nine-Nine on there too. Rules of Engagement. Patrick Warburton was in that. Who's Ron Swanson from Family Guy? Plays that macho kind of dude. Upscale New Yorkers who hang out with their neighbors, and then David Spade, who's like the creepy slime ball, which apparently he plays in 90% of his shows or movies.
The Joey Tribbiani.
Yeah, but plays it too. Oh no, he's way scummier.
Yeah, no, that's true.
But it was I really really enjoy that show. Who's it going up against? See,
Brooklyn
without the
Nine-Nine.
bracket, without the brackets here, I'm like lost. I'm like, whoa, what are we doing? Brooklyn Nine.
You have the brackets.
Not in front of me. I like it's over here. I'm going Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Even though we've missed the last couple of seasons, it was more of a choice because we had so many shows that we were watching, and then life just kind of gets busy, and now we're like, we got to start over again.
Well, I'm gonna vote for Brooklyn Nine-Nine as well. One of the funnier shows I've seen in the last 10 years, and I am fully caught up. What?
I think he was making fun of me because
How about you, Tina?
Brooklyn Nine-Nine for sure.
All right, Brooklyn Nine-Nine moves on. Next up, Community versus Bob's Burgers.
Ooh.
Community, I just got into this year. I watched all of it. It is one of the funnier shows I've ever seen. Love it. Even with the loss of most of the characters by the end of the show, it's still funny. It's not as good for sure without the 3 or 4 people that end up leaving the show throughout it, but it's really really good. So Community.
Yeah, we kind of gave up when everybody started leaving the show. I mean, I've liked Joe McHale, ever since he was on, The Soup.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a funny guy. Donald Glover, Chevy Chase, even though I guess people don't really enjoy him. He's kind of give or take. But Bob's Burgers, this is, I think, the only animated sitcom that we had in here.
You're right.
And I'm still catching up. I think I'm in the current season, maybe a few episodes behind. And now we got our daughter watching it along with us. And she's always asking me to watch Bob and wants to dance like him. There's an episode at the end where he's dancing in his underwear, flipping burgers, and she thought that was fantastic. So I'm gonna go with Bob's Burgers.
Yeah. Tina.
Make me the tiebreaker.
Did you say the tiebreaker? The tiebreaker. That should be the follow-up to the Thigh Master. The tiebreaker.
Oh gosh, what are they again? Bob's Burgers versus
Community.
That's
Community.
right. Gosh.
Oh, more often.
It's been a long day with a 5-year-old. So you're gonna be mad at me, but I
already know
still am not a fan of Bob's Burgers.
I know.
So yeah, Community for me.
Nice. All right. Community moves on. Deservedly so. Jessie's super into Bob's Burger. She puts it on at night sometimes, and I put on my headphones.
All right. So Jessie needs to come on next time because apparently my wife doesn't choose to.
All right. Next up, in the last one in the bracket, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia versus The Bernie Mac Show.
Bernie Mac Show, watched here and there. Bernie Mac was comedy legend. The show had basically him yelling at kids, which I think is what made Bernie Mac so funny, is because he just he played that like angry, like PO'd kind of character. But It's Always Sunny. I've watched all of it. I can't wait for like the new seasons to come out on Hulu. Even though now it's kind of like, I think they just signed on for like another 3 or 4 seasons. Like, what else could you possibly do? Like these past couple of seasons, like I think it's time to stop. And then all of a sudden they'll pull out an episode that I'm cracking up the entire time. They did that the last season. I was like, damn it, you guys still got it. So It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is my choice.
All right. Yeah, It's Always Sunny has been renewed for 3 additional seasons this month, bringing it to a total of 18 seasons.
I mean, I think by the end of it, Danny DeVito is going to be 172 years old. And could probably, get his Hobbit certification at that point. He could be a master tinker, like Hobbit Elf.
I haven't seen a ton of It's Always Sunny, but that's going to be my vote. I think Charlie Day is really funny, and Danny DeVito is really funny, and it's been on for 14 seasons right now, I think.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, It's Always Sunny for me.
It's Always Sunny, which is surprising for me because it took me a long time to get into that show. But what you said, Charlie Day, for me, makes the whole show. The twins, I kind of can't stand, but
they're not on there anymore. The twins are, you mean
Dennis and
D? No, I thought you meant the other, the brothers.
Oh God, they're terrible too.
Well, yeah, Charlie Day, I actually remembered from one of my favorite old shows, Third Watch. He was on Third Watch for like 5 or 6 episodes, and I really enjoyed his character there. And he was on Law and Order along with everyone else who ever acted. So. But anyways, moving on. We are now in the top 16. So currently, we have Blackish versus Arrested Development.
I started watching Blackish when it first came out. So I watched a few episodes and then I just kind of moved on to something else. I like Anthony Anderson. I thought the show was funny, but it just didn't keep my interest as much. And I don't know if that's just because it was a new show, kind of finding their groove. I know they got a spinoff now with the daughter as well, so it's been successful. But I'm gonna go with Arrested Development. I watched everything except for the last season. When they came out, when they stopped, and then they did that extra season, I tried to get back into it, but I was so confusing. I was completely lost because it's one of those shows where you have to watch it continuously because the storylines are so storyline driven. So you just can't jump into it. But I thought it was just a great show. So Arrested Development.
Cool. Yeah. Cool. Arrested Development for me, Blackish is a really funny show, and again, it's something that's on my list to get into now. So I probably would have a different opinion after going through the Blackish series. But Arrested Development does have Lego Batman, and Will Arnett is hilarious. Saying that though, Blackish is my pick.
Swerved me completely.
You taught me a hello.
So I get to be a tiebreaker. Jason Bateman is one of my, I wouldn't say one of my favorite actors, but I think everything that he is in, I have enjoyed. So I'll keep it short and sweet. Arrested Development for me, I actually loved the originality of the show. It wasn't really done like anything else. Very creative show and very, very funny, very well acted.
All the money's in the banana stand.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. And the Blue Man Group. I mean, Tobias. Come on, Tobias.
Tobias with the short shorts.
The short shorts.
He's a never nude.
I forgot about that.
You remember that?
God. Yes.
RJ's like, what?
My wife is watching Ozark with Jason Bateman in it, and he's supposedly really good in Ozark. But I actually remember him from Game Night, which was one of my favorite movies that came out in the last 5 years or so, with him and Rachel McAdams. So if you haven't seen that, super good.
Oh, of course, you
He's
like the movie with
also
Rachel
in.
McAdams.
You what?
Nothing.
Moving
He-
on. Arrested Development. Next up, Superstore versus Scrubs.
Oh no.
Superstore, man. That's it. Superstore, hands down. Superstore is one of the funnier things that I've seen. It's still really good now. But yeah, Scrubs. I feel like there's someone on Scrubs that's on another show that I watch right now. No, maybe not. I'm thinking of someone else. But anyways,
Dr. Cox.
no. Dave Franco's on it. He's amazing.
Oh my
All right.
God! In season 9,
The last season. The last season is the reason why I'm not choosing Scrubs.
Oh.
So, great series. I'm having a hard time really remembering specifics about it. Where Superstore has been very, very consistent, and a show that you can just pick up and start watching at any point and find it funny. And it's very realistic from my perspective of what it would look like to work in one of those big box stores, kind of like what
Tina
you guys
and I
did.
really know.
Yep.
Yeah. Most of what happens on that show has happened to us.
Yes, that's very true.
Yeah.
So I'm choosing Superstore.
All right, Tina, what would you have chosen?
I definitely would have chosen Scrubs, but not because I dislike Superstore. But yeah, season 9 was absolutely terrible and should have never existed for Scrubs. The new kids. I call it like Saved by the Bell, the new class. No good.
To no fault of those actors either. They had some really good actors on it. It was just
terribly written or something. Like it was almost like they made season 8 was supposed to be the finale, and they're like, wait, we have more, and it was just not. Like they should have just been done. But funny enough, I actually one night was looking for something. I was sleeping on the couch, not for any reason for fighting or anything like that. Just we're both very loud snorers, and I could not fall asleep.
Don't tell people
in the
have
same
personal
room.
business.
So I was on the couch and I was looking for something to watch to fall asleep. And I put on Scrubs because it was on, I don't even remember what it's on. And I was like, oh, I'm just going to put this on just to fall asleep to. I ended up watching 3 episodes. So I was like, oh my God, I have to start watching this again. So, I mean, for me, it's Scrubs, but it doesn't matter.
All right. Well, Superstore moves on. Next up, The Office versus George Lopez.
Oh, The Office.
The Office.
All right. But George Lopez was a really good show, and like they had the I don't really know how many shows really took the perspective of the Hispanic family at that point.
One Day at a Time did.
Well, now, yeah.
No, I know. I'm just kidding.
And George Lopez, of course, is hilarious. You know, but there's some real unrealistic things. Like his wife was way out of his league for one. But the mom was hilarious in
every TV show, though.
I was gonna say that is most of the shows, either in the 90s, any sitcom really. Like you always have the wife who's just like gorgeous, and the guy who looks like us, and it's just like,
hey.
I was gonna say, I guess it's like real life,
Oh yeah.
All of us guys, we marry up. So,
fun fact, the wife of George Lopez in that show was also the mother of Selena from 1997 Selena movie.
Yeah. Well, thanks for that fun fact.
The Office is moving on. That's it. Next up, Parks and Rec. Oh man, this is hurtful. Parks and Rec versus Modern Family. Man, I'm gonna go with Parks and Rec on this one. For me, I didn't want to watch that show because I had seen it right after watching The Office, and I just thought it was kind of a ripoff of The Office, which it kind of is in a way. Or really just the shows are very similarly shot. But Rob Lowe as Chris Traeger, Adam Scott as Ben Wyatt. There's so many characters that are so good. The Office had, their core characters too. But like, man, Parks and Rec, like Chris Pratt, my love for Chris Pratt started with Parks and Rec. I then went on and watched Chris Pratt movies after that, just cause he's a cool dude. Aubrey Plaza also watched a bunch of movies after seeing her on this show. So Parks and Rec for me.
what was the character? Aziz
April.
Ansari's friend.
Oh,
Oh yes, me. Who's that guy?
It's the worst.
And his sister too. His sister is amazing on that show, and I can't remember either of their names. But I'll look it up.
You look that up.
Billy Eichner. Billy Eichner was on
Billy
the last
Eichner was in there
season.
too.
He was amazing in the show. But yeah, that's it. You guys?
Was it Parks and Rec and who? Talk so much about Parks and Rec.
Modern Family.
Modern Family was a great concept. Of a show. Three families, but they're all tied together and all very different. Led to some, really good episodes. Obviously, they've been on for how long? Will probably go down as one of the best shows of all time. But so should Parks and Rec. Like everything that you just said, every single character in their own could be their own TV show. You didn't even talk about Ron Swanson. Like
I know. Well, yeah. I mean,
right.
how many memes do you see with Ron Swanson on it? Like that he made the show essentially. You didn't even talk about Amy Poehler. Like you just talk right, and that just goes to show you like how many great actors and actresses were in that show, and it was fantastic. So Parks and Rec.
It was Ben Schwartz who played John Ralphio.
Yes.
And his sister was Mona Lisa Saperstein, who is Jenny Slate.
Jenny Slate's
hilarious. And their dad was Henry Winkler.
Yes, that's right.
So many good things from that show. And Tina?
Sorry, I was listening out for the child. No, Parks and Rec for sure for me too.
Oh, and Modern Family is great too. All right, Parks and Rec. Moving on. According to Jim and the League, I'm gonna give this up to you guys here.
Between the two shows, it's the League. Even though I know nothing about football, that's essentially what it's about. It's like a fantasy. They bunch of friends who do fantasy football. And large majority of the show is them basically crap talking each other and playing, doing this stuff. The daughter was played by Polish actress.
I think that was back at Parks and Rec.
Oh, okay. So Jenny Slate. Yeah. So yeah, it's not going to be according to Jamie though. I thought that show was funny. Again, another guy married to a woman way out of his league. So I'm going with the League.
All right. And Tina?
I'm actually surprising myself by saying the League as well, because that was another show that it took some convincing to get me to get into. But once I did, I found it very funny. So yeah, the League.
All right. The League moves on. I don't care about either of those shows. Moving on.
Taco? You don't like Taco?
Who?
Taco.
I haven't seen either of those shows ever.
Oh my goodness.
According to Jim or the League, no.
Ooh.
Next up, two shows I also don't care about. 2.5 Men versus Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. I'm going to go with 2.5 Men myself just because I've seen more episodes of that than Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. But that show is just filled with controversy and weird things. But I'm still going to go with it.
I am too. I'm going to go with 2.5 Men as well. It's one of those shows where if, we had cable and I was bored and they would show 50 million episodes back to back to back, I would put one on and I would always find it humorous. Yes, there's a lot of things that don't age well in that show. I think you could probably say that about Charlie Sheen himself. And then Ashton Kutcher came in as well. And I think he did a decent job. I think, a lot of people didn't like it when he came in, but I thought he brought a different twist to the show. So Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt, like I said, first season I thought was terrific. But kind of lost me towards the end there. So.
Well, I think the little kid ended up leaving the show, Angus, right? He ended up leaving the show. He turned into a born again Christian at some point and was like, I can't do the show anymore, and left the show.
Yeah, I mean at that point he was like 45. So
well, wasn't
a half anything.
Yeah,
he was taking his place was Amber Tamblyn was the daughter that took his place. later on.
I totally forgot about that.
Yeah. Anyway, so who did we choose just now? I voted 2.5 Men.
We need a producer on this show.
Yeah. Anyway, 2.5 Men moves on. Next up, we have The Good Place, versus Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You already know my vote. I think I love Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but The Good Place, probably the perfect show. As far as in just making sure they cover everything. And I know you guys haven't seen it, but Good Place is my pick.
Yeah, I mean, sounds terrific. But I'm gonna go with the Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yeah, great show.
Since again, same thing. Since we've seen Brooklyn Nine-Nine and not The Good Place, and it's hilarious, and that's my pick as well.
And the other thing is, I've never really heard you talk about The Good Place, RJ, but you do like come out with these quotes, and you're like, "That's from Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You've seen that, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I've seen it. I know it's funny." So it's odd because you talk about that show a lot more often.
Well, so The Good Place, I will admit, The Good Place is very, very funny, but it has a lot of meaning behind it. It can be very.
So you don't think I would enjoy something with meaning to it?
No, there's just not a lot of like one-liners like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Brooklyn Nine-Nine for me is the reason I enjoy Andy Samberg. I did not prior to Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I actually hated him. And seeing him on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, I like him a lot more. But I hated him on SNL. I thought he was stupid. But Brooklyn Nine-Nine, great. All right.
Stupid.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
We can't watch this with Zoe.
Oh gosh, I forgot. I'll edit it out of the redo.
No.
He's silly. He's so silly. He's a silly guy. Next up, or the last one, Community versus It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. For me, Community, even with the loss of all of those characters, is still a really, really funny show. It ended, I think, still really, really good. A lot of people hated the final season, but I mean, Allison Brie is really, really awesome on the show. Abed is hilarious on the show. Even Ken Jeong? He's great on the show. His character got so ridiculous as it went along, but by the end of it, it was good. The Dean, amazing. I think in the last season he doesn't change clothes for like a really long time, which is something he did the entire season. And then finally he does like a montage of all of the changes that he wanted to do in all of the prior episodes. So Community for me.
I enjoyed Community, like I said before, but It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia is one of my favorite shows of all time. Sorry. Hey, it is. I mean, the whole episode when they're trying to find out how the Liberty Bell cracked, and they powder their faces white and get the fake teeth, and yes, that is like just like, no, you have to say like, yes. Mom ham when they're on the, oh god, just so moronic. Green Man, when Charlie Day dresses up as Green Man all the time.
Nightman? Oh my god, that's right.
Nightman. Oh man. Dayman. Like, come on. That stuff is iconic.
Oh no.
All right, Tina, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna save Community or It's Always Sunny?
I don't know.
You gotta pay the toll.
Okay, so seriously, I'm gonna go with It's Always Sunny, and here's why, which I'm very surprised at myself because I find a lot of the episodes a little over the top where I'm like, oh, come on. However, I'm finding myself having a hard time remembering a lot of Community. I remember I enjoyed it, but I don't remember much about it other than the fact that I enjoyed it when it was on. So It's Always Sunny because it has a lot more memorable moments for me. So that's my choice. I'm sorry.
Oh man. All right.
We're way over time.
Community is out. All right, moving on. It's Always Sunny. So we are in the top 8. We are pretty much almost done here.
More rapid fire this time.
We actually have been doing pretty well. We're around almost the hour mark, which our last couple episodes have hit due to 3 people being on the podcast. I think a little bit more. Plus, Mike is super talkative and he won't shut up.
He's our only live viewer.
No, he left. It's 0 now. But anyways, no, for real. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting if you're watching live. But you can check us out on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, Spotify, all the streaming websites. And keep checking us out. We do about every week. We try to put out an episode. We are actually appearing on an episode this coming January 4th, which for you is in the past. But feel free to check it out on Ambiguous Podcast. We will get that link for you and put it on our website once it's there. But we actually get interviewed about us and about our podcast. So again, this has been the top sitcoms of the 2000s. This is our 13th episode. Thank you so much for continuing to watch us. And also our music is up. V-Rap and RJ Gunn. We try to put out music again every week or so. Forgotten Memories is coming out on Friday. It is by far my least favorite song we've ever done, so I'm pretty excited for it. But yeah, that's it. Andy? No,
Wow.
I'm kidding. It's a good song. It's a good song. For fans who stuck with me since 2002, those lyrics come from "Sometime Tomorrow," which is a throwback there
God.
with Dean and John Sullivan and Alex. So
Yeah.
But anyway,
And I just came in and I just ruined the entire thing.
no, it's way better than Dean's bass playing. So,
Oh,
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. And Alex couldn't hit the drum thing either, so it's fine. But anyways, that's it. So we appreciate it. Moving on to the top 8. This is it. We have Arrested Development versus Superstore. Superstore for me. Again, I think it's amazing. I'm trying to think. First off, America is hilarious on this show. The last thing I saw her in was Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, I think. And she's really funny in Superstore. I think his name is, I'm trying to think, Ben Feldman plays the guy on that show. And he is from Jonah. And he is from a very small show called From A to Z, which was with Kristen Milioti from How I Met Your Mother. And it was supposed to be their love story of how they met from A to Z. And every episode was A, B, C, D, E. And then they got canceled at like H. So I'm really mad about it.
Jeez.
But all that to say, Superstore.
I really, really love Superstore. It's like a show that I look forward to watching all the time.
Why are your eyes closed?
I'm trying to think. Like, Arrested Development, again, is like those moments. And it has a lot of great moments in it. And I thought the storyline was really good. Like, every character had their own storyline. Superstore does too, but I'm like really like having a hard time thinking of like moments that were really big for me.
In Superstore?
Yeah, there are, but I'm like, when I'm thinking, Arrested Development's in my head. So I'm going with Arrested Development.
Man. All right.
Oh. Even though I didn't watch the last season because I watched like one episode and I was like, what the hell's going on?
Superstore, when they tackled Mateo and Ice coming in to take him away. Amazing.
That was sad.
Amazing.
That was sad, yeah.
Well,
But,
I mean, there's a good ending, guys. I wasn't happy about Ice coming in.
I mean, Bo is probably one of my favorite characters. Dude, I hate some.
One of the reasons why I do not.
I mean, Cheyenne's always got those one-liners too. Like,
there is talks of a reboot coming in. Not a reboot. I'm sorry, a offshoot with Cheyenne and Bo.
I told the Tina.
I said that as a show I will not be watching.
Actually, here it is. In December 2020, it was reported that a spinoff titled Bo and Cheyenne was in early development at NBC, and that is still currently up for grabs. So it's looking like it could be Bo and Cheyenne coming up.
Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. I don't like being the tiebreaker.
Hope.
I also don't like when my opinion doesn't matter. No.
Well, yours matters more than ever right now.
Oh, it's so difficult. So, oh God. All right. So I feel like Superstore is something that you can put on anytime and just enjoy. But I feel like Arrested Development is so well written and unlike anything I've seen before. So that's where I'm having a hard time kicking it out because I mean, Superstore is kind of like a life. Like it's realistic and Arrested Development is not. But I very much enjoy that it's not like watching the same sitcom. Like how many sitcoms do you say, oh, that's really similar to, and just something like that? Like you can't say that about Arrested Development. It's its own thing and it's not unlike anything other. But is it? I mean, I don't know. It's still about a love story about a guy pining over a girl, and then he finally gets the girl, and I mean, a lot of it anyway.
The main character leaves.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with.
Don't worry, we will cut all of the silence out of the edited version later.
I was bad at this.
Arrested Development.
All right. Arrested Development. Moving into the top 4. Next up, The Office. Oh my word! Versus Parks and Rec. This is the battle that everyone talks about. The Office, Parks and Rec. Who wins? You know, I didn't even think that this would come down. I don't know why. I wasn't thinking about it. But man, people, we need your help here. Office, Parks and Rec. The battle of David and Goliath. Or just David and David. I'm not sure.
All right. I'm going to go with The Office.
Oh man.
You know, a lot of it does get repetitive. Like the jokes between Dwight and Jim. Things
Jim.
Like,
Asian Jim.
Oh, just watched that.
We just saw
that. What's going on? This is fantastic. They just, I don't know. They always made every episode funny. Even after, like you said, when Michael Scott left, they still kept it going. You know, it was just the same show, the same dynamic between everybody. All the characters evolved as well over time. Yeah, this was a tough one, but I'm going with The Office for no real reason besides they were the originators of that type of style as well.
I'm going to make this hard for Tina because I'm going with Parks and Rec. It comes down to Jim and Pam or April and Andy, and it's always going to be April and Andy. Plus, anything Rob Lowe's a part of is gold. There's just so many good characters that have been on this show. Adam Scott as Ben Wyatt is amazing. Retta is hilarious.
Yawning. It's not because
of you. Billy Eichner. You know, and then there's been a bunch of other people on it too. I mean, John Hamm has been on it. Nick Kroll has been on it.
That's right.
Parker Posey, Kristen Bell, Will Arnett, Fred Armisen, Henry Winkler. It's, you know, it's got to be Parks and Rec. And then there was the episode of Parks and Rec where all of the politicians came on, right? So you had like Joe Biden, John McCain, Michelle Obama, Cory Booker, Madeleine Albright. It's Parks and Rec all the way.
It's actually not that hard of a decision for me. When I first heard it, because I know I'm the last vote that counts, but a Parks and Rec for me. For the main reason, because I do really like The Office now, but I don't particularly care for Dwight, like at all. And because of my original impression of Michael Scott, who did grow on me as the show went on, but I never disliked anybody on Parks and Rec. Like there was never a character where I was just like, ugh. So, and I felt that way about 2 on The Office. So because of that, it's Parks and Rec for me.
Wow. Okay, that solves it. We have just solved the battle of a lifetime between Parks and Rec and The Office. If you disagree, please let us know. But right now, Parks and Rec.
There's a lot of people that disagree.
Into the top 4.
Pot of chili in remembrance.
Next up, we have The League versus 2.5 Men.
Wow, they made this far.
Yeah, 2.5 Men for me. I'm done.
Really?
Yeah, I don't care about either one of them.
Okay, I'm going with The League. Just straight through, funny. There's the whole episode where he eats like the yakisoba noodles, and has to take a dump on the side of the road. Taco is a fantastic character. John Lavoie, who also has some hilarious songs as a comedian. And that was the other thing about The League too, is they always had like original songs that went along in the episodes, and sometimes those are the most memorable parts of the episode. None of the songs I can repeat on this podcast, so I won't do that. Yeah, The League.
All right, Tina.
The League for me as well. I found Charlie Sheen extremely obnoxious in 2.5 Men. It was kind of one of those things that I could leave on in the background, but didn't really pay too much attention to be honest.
All right. So The League moves on to the top 4, which I don't know what world we're living in, but there it is. Moving on. Brooklyn Nine-Nine versus It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Brooklyn Nine-Nine for me. First off, and I'm trying to think of what's the chief's name on Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I can't remember.
No one will edit this later.
The chief. His name, right?
I don't know. I can't remember his name for some reason. But either way, Terry Crews is in that, and he's hilarious in it. It's what's his name? Raymond Holt.
Yes.
Amazing. Gina Linetti, Chelsea Peretti is amazing on it. Charles Boyle is really, really funny. Amy Santiago ended up, I like Amy and Jake towards the end. In the beginning, I wasn't a huge fan of her, but and then Rosa. I mean, Rosa's hilarious. So Brooklyn Nine-Nine for me.
I'm going with It's Always Sunny.
Oh, gosh, you're killing me here.
Like, there came a point where I was like, we need to stop watching so many shows. And Brooklyn Nine-Nine was one of the ones where we're like, we can't keep up with it.
Didn't make the cut.
All
right.
However, I stuck with It's Always Sunny. Again, even though it can be hit or miss, but you can say that about any show. They've been pretty consistent for 14 years. Whoa, our name just popped up. That was weird.
I changed it. It was looking like this earlier.
Okay, I don't like that font.
It's a new theme. I like it.
Yes. Yeah. That's my choice.
I mean, I've kind of trailed off of both of them. Hey, look at that. Butterflies. Sorry. I'm back. The Brooklyn Nine-Nine that we kind of stopped watching. There was a lot of shows we stopped watching after I had Zoe because we just were exhausted, and we had all these things saved in Hulu, and it was just like, all right, let's just forget it. But even in the old episodes, because I don't really watch It's Always Sunny anymore either, because the later seasons are kind of like for me as well. But the older seasons, again, I just have a lot more memories of those. So I'm also going to go with It's Always Sunny.
Thank God, now the real podcast can start.
All right, It's Always Sunny beats out Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I don't know why I said Sunny.
Jenny.
We are down to the top 4. This is it. We're going to close it out. We've got Arrested Development, Parks and Rec, League, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Again, I don't know how we got here. Modern Family was in the mix. Big Bang Theory, New Girl. But those are all gone. It's down to Arrested Development and Parks and Rec. I'm not going to say a lot here. Parks and Rec is my choice.
Yeah. Even though I did not choose Parks and Rec over The Office, I think between those two shows, for everything that you've said before, I agree with you completely. Parks and Rec, everybody that's been on that show, wonderfully written, hilarious every episode, very unique characters. Arrested Development was well written as well, but again, they lost me with that last season. Yeah, I just think Parks and Rec was a better show.
All right, Parks and Rec moves on. Tina, what would you have chosen? Parks and Rec or
Parks and Rec? Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
They caught my eye at work. Somebody brought in season 1 in the break room
on DVD.
On an old TV that had the DVD player in the thing.
Oh God,
I was like,
even older than me.
It was playing, and I'm like, what is this? Like, I had heard about it, and then Andy won me over when he started saying all the different names for his bands that used to, and I was like, that's it. I'm watching this whole thing.
We own like 6 seasons, I think, before I stopped buying things.
Maybe ran out of money.
I think it was when we stopped watching DVDs that were like, well, why are we?
Well, time is money. Money is power. Power is pizza. Pizza is knowledge. Let's go. That is a Parks and Rec quote, but we're going to move on. We've got The League versus It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Figured those would be pinned up at some point.
All right. I think I'm the only one who's watched both of these shows completely through. Again, the league was funny, but iconic status of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. It's such a unique show. The way it's filmed, the characters so over the top, but they blend together so well. And then they threw in Danny DeVito in the mix, and it just blew up. Like, and he brought it to a whole nother level. So I'm going with It's Always Sunny in Philly.
All right. I will back you up on that. Tina?
Like, I don't give
I know I've been siding with It's Always Sunny with whoever it's been pinned up against, but I think I enjoyed The League a little bit more because it wasn't so over the top all the time. But yeah,
she's married to me, so there's only so much over the top.
I think I would have chosen The League, but it again doesn't matter. But that would have been my choice, I think, of the two.
All right. Well, this is it, guys. We are at our top, or our finals, of the top sitcoms of 2000s to present. It is Parks and Rec versus It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. Treat yourself.
Treat yourself. Indeed. I mean, do we just give it an anticlimactic ending here? Because I think we all know what we're going to say.
I mean, there has never been a sadness that has not been cured by breakfast food. Ron Swanson.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Parks and Rec, guys. As you know, I do not really like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but I understand why it's here. It's a very popular show, and that's the show I think we were talking about that has 105 seasons, right? So they are
it's pretty close, yeah.
Still going. But a lot of my friends talk about it all the time, and I stubbornly have not watched it. So
you wouldn't like it.
So good.
I don't think you would.
I don't want to cry every day.
You need to. It's so good.
I don't want to.
Cleanses. I only cry. I watch This Is Us, Million Little Things, Parenthood. It's just crying all the time. But anyways.
I cry when I think about you.
Beautiful friendship.
Yes.
That could go either way.
Yeah. All right. Parks and Rec.
That's it.
That's it. I mean, It's Parks
Tina,
and
what
Rec.
would you have chosen?
Parks and Rec.
All right, there it is. It's a anonymous or unanimous.
Unanimous.
It's not anonymous. I mean, pretty clear who said it. Our faces are here.
All right. Well, an anonymous winner.
There we go.
Parks and Rec. Parks and Rec is the top TV sitcom of the 2000s to present. Great show. If you haven't seen it, you're missing out. You should definitely go check it out. I probably will check out at some point It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia just because they made it this far. Why not?
I'm telling you, you won't get very far in it. I could pick out episodes for you, and you'll enjoy those episodes as a series and as a whole. There are jokes on there, and there are episodes that do not age well.
Kind of like our episodes of Backyard Wrestling.
Different kind of, yeah.
But anyways, that's it, guys. Parks and Rec. If you have anything to say, if you have any arguments to have, please hit us up on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram. I know a lot of people are still battling The Office versus Parks and Rec, but Parks and Rec has made it and is the top sitcom of all time.
No trophy. We had a trophy for Linkin Park's Crawling.
That's true. I do not have one. Thanks for all you do.
Thanks, David Kohler.
But that's it, guys. Again, check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Spotify, all that stuff, YouTube. But this was Top Sitcoms of the 2000s to the present, episode 13. Also, again, make sure to check out our music as well on B-Rap and RJ Gunn on Spotify and YouTube, actually. But this has been You Dab Me at Hello. Thank you guys so much. Any last words, guys?
No. I'm tired. It's 10:30.
All right. Well... Andy made that song.